All of the Jaguar debate that's going on right now?
No.
It's a great one, man. So defining it's one of it. Okay, where do I back up? I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you something that's like objectively true.
Okay.
Okay, it's objectively true that we had a population of Jaguars in the United States of America up until the 1800s, right? They just were. What's debated is was it how stable was it? How widespread was it? Some people would point to, well, like basically limited to southern Arizona. Some people would look and be, well, West Texas, New Mexico, southern Arizona. What about members of the Coronado expedition drawing a distinction between lions and jaguars all the way up like toward the Platte River? Okay, like why would they say both? You know what I mean? Like, what are they confusing?
Where's the Platte River?
Oh, so in the southern plains, the southern Great Plains of the United States, flowing across Kansas. Okay.
Oh wow.
Where you have instances of people mentioning things that you sort of like looking at, like, man, if they weren't talking about jaguar, what the hell are they talking about?
How do they describe it?
Leopards. Okay. And a lot of times someone will say there'll be a reference to a large cat and you can't rule out, well, maybe in the historic record, they're probably talking about mountain lions. But what do you do in a case where you have a historic record and someone is in some oddball place, southern Colorado, and they're talking about they have lions and leopards.
Oh, wow.
And lions and leopards. So it's like, I guess they're talking, I mean, they have to be referring to jaguars.
Right.
Much more widely dispersed. So as people get into talking about jaguar recovery, of which I'm a proponent with an asterisk. Like, when people get talking about jaguar recovery, you have to define what that looks like. And there are some who would say jaguar recovery in North America as a collaborative effort between us, Mexico, Belize, whoever else is rolled into this jaguar recovery plan. Jaguar recovery in North America would mean recovering them across core habitat. Okay, that's a term you hear all the time, like core habitat. So then you got to argue over what is the line, what's core habitat for jaguars. And some people will argue, and many of them have motivation. Some of them are honest. Some of them have other kind of political motivation to say that core habitat is not Arizona. That was always fringe. Stray males, one or two here and there, long periods of absence. It wasn't core habitat. Other people would argue that Arizona was absolutely core habitat. And if we're going to restore jaguars in core habitat, we're going to be restoring jaguars in some portion of the lower 48. Meaning, eventually, and recovery would look a couple ways. One is like protections, and you would watch how jaguars are able to flow back and forth across the border. A big question around jaguar recovery is the border wall. Okay, how much would a border wall impact large mammal movements? So that's an aspect. If we don't allow recovery in that way, or we make recovery in that way difficult, do we truck jaguars up and turn them loose in Arizona, New Mexico, West Texas? Really? You're going to turn them loose?
Right. Well, then
I love it, dude. I love them, and I honestly don't think they like live in such low population abundances, and they have such huge home ranges. I don't think it would ever be that there was like a jaguar problem. There's no
like
jaguar
a wolf problem.
Yeah, I don't think that you're going to have people, where you might recover wolves in some area and lose 2/3 of the elk, like seemingly overnight. I can't picture that's. I think you'd lose a lot of lions. You'd lose a lot of mountain lions probably. But
do you think they'd be forced out, or do you think due to predation?
I think that probably a combination of both, like them killing them and then just range reduction because of this big cat. But dude, I'm conflict averse enough where I don't want. It's like trucking them in to me is way in the future. And man, it would be a political battle, and you'd make a spotted owl out of the jaguar. you'd have some level of people that just came to hate them sons of bitches because they were a symbol of federal overreach. But them just coming across the border, I think is a great way. It's a great thing to root for.
Well,
I love 'em.
that's where they think El Jefe is coming through.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why they call him El Jefe. He manages to make his way through the wall.
Yep. And but it's, for a Jaguar to come hanging out in the U.S., it's a dicey life.
I don't think he knows.
No, of course he
knows
doesn't.
it's in the
No, of course he
US.
doesn't know. But you wind up, there's not like a great, in recent decades, there's not a great likelihood of finding